Hi, this is Miss Sallie from Miss Sallie's Cuisine. I'm here today as part of the 5-ingredient recipe cooking program for the Melton City Council Learning Directory. And this recipe will be grilled pesto chicken burgers. So today's recipe is for grilled pesto chicken burgers. So again, 5 ingredients. You can add stuff to your burgers if you want to, but they don't need to be overly complicated. So we've got a carrot that's peeled. I'm going to shred that in a minute with a grater. You can either use your food processor or just the ordinary everyday food grater. We've got pesto, just store-bought. Any brand will do. This is just the one I prefer. We've got lettuce and we've got chicken mince. So I've already got my chicken mince in my bowl. So I'm just going to leave that there for a minute. So we're going to add 1/3 cup of basil pesto to our chicken. So just spoon it out of your jar into 1/3 cup, or roughly 3 dessert spoons if you don't have a measuring cup. Just scrape that into your chicken. And I've got some leftover spring onions, so I'm just going to throw those in, otherwise they just end up in the compost. And then I've got a carrot which I've peeled. I'm just going to chop off the ends. So we're just going to grate the carrot. You can either use just an ordinary food grater, or if you've got a food processor and you want to use that, that's fine. Now the recipe calls for 1/4 cup of carrot, but if you don't want to use just half a carrot, which is roughly 1/4, just use the whole carrot and put that in. It's just going to add flavour, and it's a good way to get veg into your meat for your kids if you're making them for the kids. And then I just use a spoon or a fork and mix those. Equally, you could use your hands, but a lot of people don't like putting their hands into meat, and I'm one of those people. So just give that a good mix so it's just nicely incorporated like that. And I just put in a little bit of pepper just for seasoning, and some sea salt. You can use any sea salt, or you could even use table salt, but be light on the table salt. Okay, and then I'm just going to put the meat mixture onto the board. And this should get 4 to 6 burgers. So normally what I do is I just make a log out of the meat, cut it into half, and then cut it into 3. And then the other side cut into 3, okay? The ones on the end will end up being a little smaller, so just take some meat off the middle ones. Just roll them around into nice chicken balls like this. Take a baking tray, just press the balls down into nice patties like this. You can either put them straight onto your tray or you can use baking paper. Make sure they're roughly the same size. If you wanted to make these larger, then just cut the meat into 4, or if you want to make more than 6, then just double your quantity. Just pop those onto your tray. All right, and I'm just going to pop these in the griller and let them grill for about 4 minutes on this side, and then we'll turn them over and finish them off on the other side. Now, if you don't have a griller, you can use a pan, I just do them this way because it cuts down on the fat. Okay, so our chicken burgers are in the griller. They're still cooking away there. They normally take, because they're so thin, they normally take about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. So while we're waiting for those, we're going to cut our lettuce. So if you prefer lettuce leaves whole on your burgers, you can do that. Otherwise, just cut your lettuce in half. You probably, for 4 serves, you probably only want 1/4 of lettuce. So just cut that in half, and then just finely slice your lettuce, or to the thickness that you prefer it. And we're also going to get our bread ready. So you can use brioche buns if you want to. These toast really quickly, so do them at the last minute. You can use bread, so normal everyday bread that you would toast. You can use white or brown bread, whole grain, or if you want to use focaccia, then use focaccia. I normally cut mine up into smaller pieces anyway, and then we can just toast those as well. So I'm just going to put my bread onto my tray, and I'm going to check my burgers. So they're looking not too bad. And I'm just going to turn them over at this time. So once they start to turn white, then you can start turning them over. If you want them more cooked, cook them a bit longer. But you don't want them burnt. Okay. So I've just turned these burgers over, and you can see they've still got a little bit of pink in them in the centre. So I'm just going to put them back in the oven, underneath the griller, to cook a bit longer until that pink is gone. Okay, so the chicken burgers smell like they're cooking. So I'm just going to check them, and to the look, they look cooked. They've changed. I can see there's no pink left there on the outside. So if you're a bit unsure as to whether the chicken burgers are completely cooked through in the centre, just get a knife and a fork or 2 knives and just cut in the centre and just check to see if there's any pink. If you've got a thermometer at home, you can also put that in and just ensure that your chicken is cooked to 75 degrees. But these are looking cooked. So we're just going to let those sit there for a minute while we're toasting our bread. Now, if you are using brioche buns, they burn in seconds, so keep an eye on them. Don't get distracted, otherwise you'll end up with a big burnt mess in the oven. Or if you're using a toaster, just be careful what setting you put them on, because they'll end up burning. I can already smell my brioche buns have cooked, so I'm just going to turn those over, whereas my focaccia or flatbread is still not too cooked, but I'm not too fussed about that on the inside, because unless you like your bread burnt, which I don't, you can turn that over at the same time. You don't really need to toast it till it's golden, it just needs to be warmed. I'm just going to check my bread again. It should be cooked, and it is. So as you can see, the brioche buns, they cook really quickly. So we're just going to make this one up. But it's the same as if you use flatbread or focaccia or toast bread. So you can put butter on it, but today I'm not going to put butter onto our bread. Most people, this isn't one of the ingredients for the burger, but most people do have some kind of sauce at home, so use a sauce that you prefer. So I'm just going to use a little bit of mayonnaise. Sometimes it comes out a bit too quickly. I'm just going to put some lettuce on the bottom. And then I'm going to put a burger on. Now you can put cheese, you can put tomato. If you want to go into making eggs and bacon and whatever, you can make your own burger up. But this is a really simple way to make a quick and tasty burger. You can also serve it with chips or sweet potato chips, or you could make up a tomato salad or whatever you like to serve it. But most kids, if they're eating a burger, they only want the burger. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Be sure to follow the Melton City Council Learning Directory Facebook page to ensure you don't miss the next one.